Sign up today for a 7-day free trial at alerts.chartguys.com. Checking in on the cryptoverse, we've got a bunch of altcoins as well that members voted on, and we're going to be looking from a longer term time frame. I currently do have a couple orders on Bitcoin and Litecoin that have filled to the downside, trying to play this bounce. So we'll zoom into the shorter term and see that bounce playing out, and what my game plan for that is after we look at some longer term time frames to start it off. So monthly charts to start it off. Bitcoin on the monthly chart is an inside bar forming. We're halfway through the month of July, and we're setting up for the potential of monthly consolidation. Now we've changed, remember from the bottom in December, or actually it wasn't December, but the bottom before 2019. Let's see, when did we hit bottom? We hit bottom in December, okay. So the trend changes that we saw, we changed the daily trend, we changed the weekly trend. The weekly trend changing is when I changed my perspective, and that's when we were looking bullish. Obviously the bulls got a lot more follow through than we could have hoped for, but we have not changed the monthly trend bullish. We have taken out a bunch of resistance, yes, absolutely, but until we see a monthly high or low on healthy consolidation and then continuation to a higher high, I'm not going to officially call it a monthly uptrend. We broke the monthly downtrend on Bitcoin. The last lower high that the bulls broke was 8,488, and that was convincing, but we have not confirmed an uptrend. And that's what we're looking to do this summer and into the fall, to be looking at all-time highs to be tested. So, inside bar, the question is, are we going to see this weekly bear break? So right now, and honestly, I like the 3-day time frame, which some of our members have been pointing out, better than the weekly time frame, just to see the clarity of our recent high, low, and then lower high, because it's a tightening range right now, and the bulls have to hold 9,651 in order to stay in this tightening pattern. Look at the 3-day exponential support. The 12 period has held multiple consolidations, and we're on top of it right now. So the way that this is going to play out is we're either going to see, well, there's 3 ways: high, low, lower high, and we drop down to a lower low. If we break 9,651, as far as I'm concerned, we lose the weekly clarity of the strong uptrend. We're then in monthly consolidation mode. The other scenario is we hold support of 96.51 and see an equilibrium tighten up into probably a week from now. And then scenario number 3 is we form a higher low and see a bull break, which is probably the least likely scenario in my opinion. So right now we're just looking into clues. Are we going to drop to lower lows, or are we going to hold 96.51 and form this tightening range, which again would be the same tightening range on the weekly time frame that we've been keeping an eye out for. But for me, I just like the more details that are shown on the 3-day chart. It's just more clear. We're always wanting to find the time frame that's the most clear for us, and this is the one for me currently. So the question is, have we found our current bottom? Here's the daily time frame. We did lose the daily uptrend, but we've been in a pattern now with a lower high every day for 5 days in a row, and it's only 96.51 to be watching as far as short-term support goes. The 4-hour RSI did just dip to oversold, currently a 4-hour inside bar forming. The hourly time frame, little bounce attempt, trying to hold a higher low, and to change this hourly trend, we'll have to see a bull break here of 10,673. That would be essentially a double bottom and then a break of the lower highs. The 15-minute time frame has been the most clear for me because the exponential resistance has been rejecting the price for essentially 12 hours before this last bounce saw the most meaningful attempt to get over those levels, but it still did reject. So if we can get over 15-minute exponential resistances and see a bull cross of the 12 and 26, that'll be notable for me as just a shift in the short term, and that'll let us know that this is the most for real bounce that we've seen in the last 15 hours or so. So I did begin scaling in under 10,500. I had only one Bitcoin order filled at 10,003, just low 10,300s. And I wanted a bit more of a bigger position than that. So I did end up entering a bit more on this little 15-minute consolidation. So where I stand right now, I have a decent chunk of Bitcoin, and I'm looking at the potential of at least a 4-hour oversold bounce to form a 4-hour lower high. As always, my game plan will be to scale out into some strength, knowing I'm playing against the shorter term trends, and a lot of them, I scale out into a bounce and drop my break-even price of what the trade would be. So my average at this point is probably in the 10,300, probably about 10,400 or so, and just looking to see if we can get this 15-minute clear bull break over 10,673, and that's when I would begin to lock in some of this position. If we were to drop down from here and 4-hour RSI were to remain oversold and we were to see a bear break of 10,000, I've got other buy orders under 10,000 to look to play that 4-hour oversold bounce and those RSI levels, which would be reaching into the mid to low 20s if we break 10,000. Let's actually cover LTC next because I entered LTC as well. So LTC monthly time frame, and remember, LTC changed the weekly time frame first and let us know that that trend change was coming for Bitcoin, a bit of a heads up. Now we have the monthly consolidation, and we actually didn't even break any monthly resistance on Litecoin. 182.35 was resistance, and we formed a lower high compared to that. We must see the monthly higher low holding 22.17 and then a bull break of 146 to confirm a monthly trend change. The bulls would love on both of these names, or all of these names, to hold the monthly exponential support on a back test. Bitcoin would have a ways to go to get to that level. Litecoin coming up on that level now, that level's down at $80. So we're a bit more beat up. The weekly time frame is now on its 4th week of consolidation. You could make the argument that we lost the weekly uptrend by breaking 97.05, or you could be a bit more picky and say that the last clear higher low of consolidation was 64.84. Either way, we're extremely extended on some of these time frames. The daily is just hitting oversold, not too extreme there, but just again 6 days in a row of lower highs, getting a bit extended. The first time we've seen this RSI this low since the reversal down from $22. So that's notable. But the 4-hour RSI is where it's crushed. It's down at 21. The hourly RSI this morning was down close to single digits. It was down into the low teens. So that's why I took interest in LTC as well. And I got some orders filled. Let's see, I had orders at 80, low 89 and low 88. So my average right now is about mid 88s. And I already did exit some profit, and that's me on Coinbase. This is my exit order right here at 91.89, and it hit twice, so chipped away a decent chunk of my sell order. I then pulled my sell order. The reason being, if we were to get back to this level, I would anticipate we're likely going to break it and get a little bit more follow through. But again, what that selling allowed me to do, and I ended up selling about a third of my Litecoin, is that drops my break-even price on the trade. So if my break-even was 88.60 and I sell at 91.89 and I sell a third, I'm not going to be able to do that math off the top of my head, that drops about $1.50 from my break-even. So my break-even is now 87.10, which again puts me in complete control of this trade. I can decide to put my stop level under 88 and have a break-even trade, or I could say to myself, well, if we do break bearish, the 4-hour RSI will be in the teens, and I perhaps want some further scale in orders, perhaps in the mid to lower 88s. And you can just look at all the different time frames. The 12-hour time frame for Litecoin, RSI is at 21. So knowing all this, what's the Litecoin BTC chart doing? First off, here's the monthly chart. This is a key support, 688. And this monthly time frame, if we can hold this equilibrium, it would be awesome for clarity's sake. But we've got our high, low, lower high, and we're looking for a higher low compared to 688. So that is notable that there is still support there, because the ETH BTC monthly chart, we're breaking support, and this is on Coinbase, but we are dropping to lower lows. So it's a distinct difference where if we can hold this monthly equilibrium on LTC BTC and form a higher low somewhere above 688, then Litecoin bulls should benefit from that into the end of the summer. But that's a big if as to whether or not we can form that higher low. So I do have some orders, like I said, for lower lows. And this is the kind of thing where, again, someone asked me if I were in 2017 and aggressive, how would I be doing things differently? And it just would be bigger orders. My scale in would be maybe twice as much as what I'm doing right now, because I'm pretty much ensuring that I always have a solid amount of cash. But again, what it allows me to do is I'm about to go and leave the computer for 5 hours. I'm going to have sell orders in case we make our way to the mid to upper 90s on a big turnaround, or I'm going to have buy orders in, like I said, the lower 80s, probably get a bit more cautious because I won't be at the computer screen for a bunch of hours. But again, it allows me to go and live life and not have to be glued to the screen like I was in 2017. Was it worth it? Absolutely. But I'm not in that place right now. So we'll see if the 15-minute trend can change here on Litecoin. 91.89 key resistance, double bottom at 88, and some extreme RSI levels. ETH USD monthly consolidation is just about getting underway here. And what I look for is a break of the higher low every month pattern. So 226 breaking on Ethereum would pretty much ensure that. But again, we're looking for a higher low compared to 80. And then we have to turn around and break 364.49 into the fall. Pretty much for it to be healthy consolidation, don't want it to be more than a month or two. And then we need to see continuation back up to that level into the fall. Weekly time frame for ETH, the weekly higher low, 226.56, that level we just looked at, that's the most important support which we are approaching, and we held it by $3 so far. Daily time frame, again, 6 days in a row, 5 days in a row of lower highs. RSI approaching oversold. Litecoin's a bit more oversold on its daily and 4-hour time frames. Beat up here on the 4-hour. On any bounce, we're just going to look for a 4-hour lower high and 4-hour exponential resistance. So if you're watching these videos, I obviously have a bullish perspective in the sense that I'm making bullish trades. But if I say, we're looking for a lower high with the 4-hour exponential resistance, or I'm looking to scale out profit for a 4-hour lower high, if you're looking bearish, you're looking to enter bearish on 4-hour lower highs and test of these exponential resistance. So that's a way to use what I'm saying in both directions, even though it definitely has a bullish lean, because that's the direction I'm currently looking. So ETH BTC, again, all bears and just no support. It's certainly not a very comfortable chart to be in whatsoever, and that's why I am personally choosing Litecoin as opposed to Ethereum. XRP USD, monthly perspective, we have an equilibrium already in play. We have this low, big bull move to the high, higher low held a base of support, lower high, and now we're coming down. This is a must-hold level of 285. And if 285 were to break, and it's actually 282 was the actual low. So if 282 breaks, it is a very notable bear break of just continuation of the downtrend on the monthly. We already lost our weekly uptrend, and this is the must-hold level for these XRP bulls. And we are beat up here as well. The daily RSI at oversold. Again, same thing with the 5 days in a row of lower highs. 4-hour RSI not as beat up as some of the other names, but still exponential resistance and still just looking for a lower high under 33,435. So clear 4-hour lower high resistances to be watching on everybody, even if this bounce gets follow through. But XRP, one of the weaker out of the names we watch. Binance, monthly consolidation. 2871 broke, so we're looking for a monthly higher low to form. The weekly time frame, exponential support being tested. We'll see if that's able to hold up. The daily time frame got a bounce to just set a daily lower high at 3262, and here we are heading back to the low. It is a bottom fishing play off of 2826, but if that level breaks, there's a lack of support immediately nearby. I'd be looking at 2753 and then down to essentially 2511. So the bulls, looking at it on the 4-hour time frame, and actually this is probably best on the 12-hour, have to hold this low, but anything under 3262, just a lower high. So anticipating a tightening range for a bit here, and how that tightening range breaks is going to have some significant implications on the daily time frame as to whether a bounce is occurring or not. If we drop to that lower low, it's back to square one for the bulls to try and change the daily trend. Daily trends changing bullish are the higher risk, higher reward signal of monthly higher lows being set. If I want to be conservative, I wait for the weekly trend to change back to bulls. If I want to be more aggressive, the daily trend is an earlier, shorter term time frame signal indicating the potential of a longer term higher low being set. So that's something that we're going to be using as well. Daily trend changes back to bulls, which again aren't going to happen overnight here anytime soon. LINK USDT, monthly inside bar, weekly chart pulling back for a weekly higher low to form. Need a daily trend change before we're convinced a weekly higher low has formed, which means the bulls need to hold 260 and break 333 in order to change this daily trend. Worth watching for, again, 12-hour, a little bit more clear, low, high of the bounce, trying for a higher low, have to change that trend, and that would be convincing for that weekly higher low to be set. So it's currently a stop fishing or stop loss play, a bottom fishing play off of 260, where stop could be under 260 to try and remain protected, because if 260 does break, again, where this weekly time frame stands, there's no telling where we could pull back to, and the lack of support on the daily time frame in this range would certainly want us to be cautious. But we do have one clear support level to be using at 260, and we'll see if that level can hold. BNB BTC, monthly consolidation for multiple months, and we have to form a monthly high or low. Weekly trend changing bullish would be the first indication. We're not changing this weekly trend anytime soon. On any bounce, anything under 44.84 is just a lower high. So even if the bulls get a significant weekly bounce, just looking for that lower high. Daily trend has to change, grinding exponential resistance and continuing to struggle, and anything under 303 is just going to be a daily lower high, keeping the bears in control. So again, worth watching this chart for a daily trend change to try and form this monthly high or low. But as of right now, we have to change the daily trend and the weekly trend before we're real confident that monthly high or low has been established. BCH USD on Coinbase. So same thing, monthly consolidation underway. Have to hold 73.22 and break 517.75 in order to confirm a monthly trend change. That's a long ways away. We would need another 65% plus from where we stand right now. We lost the weekly uptrend. That's certainly a red flag for bulls. The daily time frame is oversold. Lower highs 5 days in a row. 4-hour RSI pretty beat up in the low 20s. Exponential resistance grinding the price down and rejecting from these 4-hour levels. And next support level that we're looking at from where we stand, there's nothing really nearby. 330, nothing there. So 300 psychological and then 285.65 are the two levels that we're looking at. REN BTC, nice tightening daily range. We did form another lower high very clearly. There's a ton of resistance at this level. The bulls are attempting a higher low here and to head back to resistance, but this big upper wick is a bit of a red flag. It shows a lack of any real follow through on the bounce. If we lose this little 4-hour higher low pattern, that's going to have us looking at another leg down potentially back towards 6.3. So 6.3 and 993 are the clear ranges to be watching. If we can keep this 4-hour uptrend and hold this support of 822, that's going to be notable. And we'll still be looking back up at that 993 resistance. But as of right now, on the verge of losing that 4-hour uptrend, which would put the bears back in the driver's seat of this short-term pattern. FTM BTC, daily time frame here. Also just watching a tightening range. We have the low, high of the bounce, higher low, and we're scouting a lower high compared to 294. And if we see a bear break of 209 and 21 here, that would tell us our lower high has been set at 237, and we would then look for a higher low compared to 175 as this range just continues to tighten. Let's see if it gets a little bit more clear. 2-day time frame, tighten it up a little bit. Low, high, higher low, potentially that lower high, and we may be headed back down to support. So one more check-in on the short term here for Bitcoin. Have to change this 15-minute trend and break the high of the bounce. Otherwise, we're going to be anticipating the potential of an hourly drop to lower lows. And again, I'm going to get picky now. Now that I'm not sitting at my computer after this video, and now that I already have some position, not adding anything unless under 10,000 on Bitcoin. And for Litecoin, again, it's where I move orders. So I had buy orders at low 89, low 88, low 87, low 86. Because we bounced off 88 and cooled off short-term RSI levels, I then dropped my topmost bids. I will move my low 87 bid, keep my low 86 bid perhaps, drop it down a bit further into the lower 80s because the short-term RSI levels have cooled off, and it's not the same scenario as when I placed those orders back this morning earlier. So I appreciate you watching. Do good things out there. Lots to go over, but we'll see if this bounce can play out. Not giving up on the bounce if this is not the bottom, because again, I only have fairly minimal amount of cash into this trade. I will definitely put a lot more into this trade if we do keep dropping and those 4-hour, 12-hour RSI levels keep at extremes. And if the bounce gets going now, it's enough of a position that'll make perhaps a couple day maker. And that's all we're going for. That's all I'm going for. Again, less aggressive for me. Others perhaps loading a bit more aggressively at these levels. Appreciate it. See you soon.
It's a duck triangle.